Hi guys, Ernie here. Today I want to talk about some road shoes. So the ones I use the most are these Giro Empire SLXs. I bought these roughly 2 years ago and I really like them. They are super light lace-up shoes which start to get popular again. I use Speedplay walkable aero cleats. These also last pretty long. And basically the only gripe with my shoes is that, well, they have more than 30,000 kilometers on them now and start to look a bit worn. And yeah, I think maybe this season they will still last, but after that I'm not so sure. I've also had a couple of two crashes in them. So at this spot the upper starts to separate from the shoe plate, so yeah, they probably won't last forever. And also there's one more problem with these, because previously I haven't ridden anything that's too long, possibly 3 hours, maybe 3.5 at most, and in cooler conditions. But this year I'm going to do some longer races in the summer, and the thing is with laces, if your foot gets swollen in hot weather, there's not much you can do about it. And well, it doesn't happen too often because, well, if you learn to get your lace tension right, then yeah, then you're good to go. But it happened to me on 2 or 3 occasions when I wasn't really paying attention and I didn't get it right. So I started to get really nasty hot spots and I had to stop losing my laces and then continue. So yeah, you can do that on a training ride, but in a race not so much. So I was starting to think about something else. But the problem here isn't the laces themselves, in my opinion. The problem is that if you look at this shoe, it's pretty narrow, and I don't have wide feet. I definitely don't need a wide fitting shoe or E-type or something like that. But even then, if you apply pressure and you want your foot to spread out, it actually overflows. You know, the last or the shoe plate is pretty narrow, so your outermost part of the foot isn't basically supported. So I think that's what's responsible for that nasty hotspot that I got on a few occasions. And the problem with that is it gets extremely painful extremely quickly, so not what you want. The other shoes I have are the S-Works Sub 6s. At first glance they're very similar to the Giros, but in reality they're very, very different. So they're much more secure fitting shoe. They have the padlock heel cup, which I love, and most importantly they have a nice wide front. So yeah, the last is also very nice and wide. You can see that when you compare it with, yeah, basically the Speedplay cleat. That's the same on both, and you can see how much wider it is in comparison. So yeah, this is basically my race day and time trial shoe, and it's much more comfortable thanks to the extra width, because it's all the way, well, your foot is supported all the way out, at least mine is, and this is not even a wide fit. So, and I think they made one. Yeah, so supposedly this is the most aerodynamic shoe on the market. That's why I use it on time trials mostly. And I really like the overall fit and design and looks. It's also pretty low weight, a tiny bit heavier than the Giros, but I think the power transfer, the comfort definitely makes up for that, not to mention the aerodynamics. So yeah, I really, really like this shoe and I wanted to get something similar. I could have gotten these Giros again, and I was thinking about it, but they're unavailable at the distributor in my size. So I was looking at some other options, the Factor Tech Lace, for example. But yeah, that's the same essential design, but has that weird boa, and yeah, not the closure system. I don't really like that. Then they have an even lighter version of this, which is fine, but I have my event shoe as a sub 60s, so I want something that could be used more of the time. And in the end, I decided to go with a pair of regular S-Works 60s. And yeah, most of the time on this channel I show you something truly brand new, but this is not really a new shoe design. The S-Works 7s are already out on the market, but there are a couple of reasons I didn't want to get those. So first, I really prefer the look of the 6s, and yeah, that's a personal thing, but I don't know, I think they're just pretty damn cool, probably the coolest shoes on the market. The second reason is the 7s don't have the padlock heel anymore, because people are complaining about it. I love it in the sub 6s, so I wanted to have that on the regular 6s. Then yeah, same wide forefoot, same super stiff and pretty wide last or outsole or whatever you call it. And yeah, since this model is basically running out, being replaced by the 7s, there's been quite a reasonable discount on them. So I got these, I think, for 240-50 euros, so very good price, compared to 360 for the 7s. So yeah, that's another plus point for the 6s. And basically the two areas where these differ from the sub 6 is the closure system and the addition of the Dyneema fabric. So this is basically a super high-tech non-stretch fabric. Weight-wise, they're a bit heavier again, but they're still lighter than 99% of the BOA shoes, I think. These use higher-end BOA dials, so you can tighten and loosen them in millimeter increments, not just tighten and then pop out to loosen completely. And yeah, the laces can also be, unraveled from this little guide, so putting them on is a bit easier. And this is probably the shoe I'm going to use for my longer road races, because, well, laces are brilliant, if you get them right. And for shorter events, 99% of the time you will be hard pressed to find any faults with them. However, it can happen that you not tighten them correctly, and then also when it comes to a sprint finish, something like that, or when you're just cruising along, you can tighten and loosen the stuff. So yeah, I have never had BOA shoes before, but that's the first time for everything, I guess. Aero wise, again, they're not as good as sub 6s. You can see that the profile is not very clean, but I'm not going to use these for time trials, so that's not really an issue at all. And yeah, for the black color, I chose that because of, well, it matches everything and it's easier to keep clean. Also, I don't really have any cleats for them yet. They will arrive later this week, so I'll be able to test them out. You can also get the same pouch as for the sub 6s. Pretty much the same shoe apart from the BOA dolls. Okay, so this was a quick tour of my road shoes. I hope that you'll find some of these bits of information useful and you'll learn from my experiences. If you want to know more about other equipment that I use, mainly the bikes, then don't forget to tune into the channel and subscribe. It's off today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.